Hello, welcome to Drunk on Tea. Today I'm going to show you how to paint a Hobbit Militia. So to start off with, I primed him with Chaos Black Spray. First one coming in on his waistcoat with Castillan Green. It's going to take 2 or 3 coats to get a nice strong finish. Just make sure you just get everything that's on his waistcoat. Paint his hat. I'm using Thunderhawk blue for this. This is a very thin paint, so 2 or 3 coats will be needed. See, now I've got a nice solid base colour on his hat and his waistcoat. So I come in, I'm going to paint the sleeves to his shirt. So I'm using Celestra Grey for this. Once again, it's a very light paint over a dark undercoat. It's going to take 2 or 3 coats to get nice solid coverage. Once you've got a good solid cover on the sleeves to his shirt, coming with Bugman's Glow, and I'm going to paint all of the skin. Obviously this is a Hobbit, there's quite a lot of flesh. Just want to get his face, he's got his ear poking out just there. Also you want to make sure you get his hands and feet as well. Don't forget, Hobbits don't wear shoes, so you've got to get the feet. Now I'm coming in with some Corvus Black. I'm getting his hairline here. Some hair poking out the back of his hat as well. While I'm doing this, I'm also going to paint his trousers, and there's some strapping around the edge of his sword as well. Don't forget hair on his feet, so catch that with Corvus Black as well. With those coats done, it's time to move on to his little necktie, so I'm painting that with Avalanche Sunset. Be nice and neat here, you don't want to get any of this over his skin or his waistcoat. Now with all of those colours completed, his little buckle here, it's done with some Rhinox hide. It's got a little pouch and there's some strapping as well. And finally, some lead belcher on his sword. So now with all the base colours down, it's time to put some washes over. I'm starting off with some Reikland Flesh Shade all over the skin. So that's his face, his hands and his feet. Try and avoid the hair when you get to his feet. Next I'm coming in with some Biltan Green, getting that over his waistcoat. And then finally, everything else I just cover with a coat of non-oil. So that's his hat, his necktie. I'm going to get the sleeves to his shirt as well, his trousers, the pouch, and the sword. Now once those shades are dry, it's time to come in and highlight. I'm starting off with the skin with some Cadian flesh tone. So I'm using where the shade has settled and I'm going around all of that with thin coats of Cadian flesh tone, catching all of the raised areas, leaving the shade in the recesses. So you trace around here to see around the eye and around the cheek. By thinning your paint so it's nice and thin and coming back with a couple of layers, you can build up a little bit of a gradient by working your way up the model. So working up the cheek, for example, in thinner layers, leaving more on the high areas. So just follow it around, all the way around all the details on the face, and then move on to the hands, catch all of the fingers, run right down the middle where that shade settled into the crevices between them, and brighten all of that up. Also on the feet here, see around here around the ankles, you can see where the shade settled nicely. You just trace around on all the most raised areas, Cadian flesh tone, plopping some up. So now with a couple of layers of Cadian flesh tone, I'm coming in with some Kislev flesh next. So for this, you want to catch the most raised details. So it's things here like the very tip of his nose, the bottom lip, round the chin, sort of any areas where the two meet to give some definition. So here along the cheeks, into the ears as well, sort of under the eyes too. And then on the toes, do all the sort of tips of the toes, tips of the fingers and knuckles, just the blob of Kislev flesh. The eyes, I'm coming in with some Abaddon black, putting that into the recesses of the eye sockets. Be nice and neat, you don't want to get this over your current skin tone. So take your time, be nice and gentle, just sink the black into the recess. A little bit of white scar, which I put inside that Abaddon black as a straight line. And then in that white, you put a little line of black just to separate the two as a pupil. Now I'm coming back in with Castilian green onto the waistcoat and raising it on all the raised areas. So where that shade settled, I'm going to that, leaving a bit of the shaded colour and bringing it back to its original shade. So work your way around, picking up all the raised areas and leave the shade in the recesses. Now I come in with a 50-50 mix of Castilian green and Strachan green, and then in the middle of all those bits I've just painted back up and put another dob, very thin mix, just to help add an extra layer. And then finally I come in with pure Strachan green, basically do an edge highlight all the way around and all the most raised prominent details, things like the buttons, the tops of the pockets, and any prominent folds that you can see. See now with the jacket nicely highlighted. Come in and I'm going to do the sleeves to his shirt. So first of all, I'm coming in with Celestra Grey and getting sort of all of the mid-raise points, because the shade should create a bit of definition between the two. So most of these folds here, I'm coming along on sort of the raised areas and giving a bit of a chunky highlight to them. It may take 2 coats if you're not quite happy with it. Let's just come back and paint it until you get a nice sort of off-white colour, and then just come with a little bit of white scar. I just work my way around all the most raised areas as a highlight, keeping it in the middle of that Celestra Grey we just laid down. So now for the hat, I'm coming back in with Thunderhawk blue, nice and thin, laying it all the way around the top and the rim. See, anywhere where the shade hasn't settled, just to bring it back up to its original brighter colour. And then I'm coming around with an edge highlight of Fenrisian Grey on the brim of the hat here, and I'll also highlight the most raised details on the top of it. Highlight his necktie, so I'm coming just in with a little bit of Uriel yellow and just do an edge highlight all the way around the outside of those ties. So now just for the pouch and the strap, I've got a little bit of Gorthor brown. I'm just giving that a bit of an edge highlight on the top of the belt and sort of the flaps of the pockets and any sharper angles that are on it. Now I'm going to highlight his trousers. I'm just using Eshin Grey to start off with as a bit of a chunky highlight, running it along the most raised folds and things. I'm going to come in with another highlight afterwards to brighten these up. This just gives a little bit of a transition. Just work your way around, find the most prominent creases and folds, put a chunky highlight of Eshin Grey. And I come in with Mechanica Standard Grey and do an edge highlight on the peaks of all the very highest folds. With this also, that highlight any hair, I'll just go straight to Mechanica Standard Grey for that, so that will be on his feet and the bit around the top of his head. And also, don't forget the bit of strapping on his sword. You can see with this, just follow the folds as they are. And then one final highlight, just a bit of Stormhose silver, just along the very edges of his sword. And there you have it, quick and simple Hobbit Militia, ready to defend the Shire. Thank you for watching, and have fun painting!